Welcome back to Primetime Sacramento. We're straying from our usual format, of course, to bring you this live image of a helicopter that has crashed on U.S. Highway 50, right west of 59th Street, a very busy stretch. And thankfully, no drivers on the ground were hit, no motorcyclists were hit, but the 3 people in that helicopter were severely injured. We are getting some reports, not confirmed, but we are getting some reports that the helicopter was headed to UC Davis Medical Center. Not a big surprise there. Obviously, that is where a lot of people go when they need help. This is a life flight helicopter. You've heard of those before, whether they're taking a victim, a patient, or perhaps an organ donor or organ transplant. Medical helicopters make these trips day and night. They are very equipped to do this in daylight or nighttime. The weather is obviously not a factor in this. I bring in my co-anchor Marley Ginter. She is going to be joining me for the remainder of this breaking news and throughout the night on CBS 13 as well. So Marley, what we have here is a very fortunate situation where the traffic at the time wasn't so intense that no drivers were hit.
I mean, definitely when you think of it that way, but still you had so many people on the highway. I mean, this is Highway 50 East. This is right near Howe Avenue. So you know that stretch is busy. You know there are a lot of people who travel that way. And several people now posting on social media when they saw that chopper actually go down.
Now, the video they took, were these drivers?
These were drivers.
Okay.
So they're sitting there, and obviously that chopper, not something you're used to seeing, you're in your car on the highway, and the chopper got lower, and then the video picks up when you see what looked to be the chopper go to the ground, and you see all of these pieces come flying up into the air.
There's a different vantage point.
Video, right? And so, you know, this is, I was looking into, because this is a Reach Air helicopter, so you can see this is a live picture from our crew that's out there now. It's taken quite a bit for everyone to get out there, as you can imagine, with the backup there. But when you look at what Reach Air does, they do very critical transport. So again, we don't know who was on board this flight. We don't know exactly who they were transporting. We just know that 3 people were on board, and we know that these choppers are equipped to help with ICU patients.
Absolutely. And the one thing that comes to mind is, thank goodness there was no fireball. A lot of times, obviously, when you have an aircraft that goes down, depending on the situation, you have an ensuing fire. Not the case here, thankfully. But again, the 3 people inside were being told are in critical condition. There's also some reports that this flight may have taken off from Red Bluff Municipal Airport. Still working to find that out, but again, perhaps headed to UC Davis Medical Center. This is a eastbound 50 full closure because of this, right in Stockton Boulevard area. The helicopter crash happened just a couple of hours ago. And again, the traffic on the other side of 50 is just down to a trickle, as you can imagine, with all the looky-loos and people just making their way through. This is near the construction zone that we've been talking about. Perhaps that led to fewer cars on the road, or more of a stoppage in terms of what was happening on the ground at the time on Highway 50. But once again, we have a situation here where a helicopter just smashes down to the ground on U.S. Highway 50.
So concerning, especially when you're taking a look at just how much traffic was on the road at the time. Again, it could have been so much worse with more cars, but this was really just right after the rush hour traffic. But still, though, a lot of cars on the road, and you can see how much it was backed up as people were just sitting there and able to see how low this chopper was getting and start recording from their phones. And so you actually see everything happen. There are other pictures too there, because this was right as the sun was setting, where you actually see the sunset in the background and an incredible amount of black smoke just covering the orange sunset. It is, it's
that's pretty
unreal
eerie.
to see. It really is.
We're going to have a live report from at least one of our reporters coming up soon here on Primetime. They're getting in place. Obviously, when something like this happens, we rush to the scene, and getting there, easier said than done whenever you have the traffic the way it is because of this. But we have both Ashley Sharp and Brady Halbleib who are getting in place, and whoever's ready first will go to them to give us the very latest. Go ahead, say it again, guys. Okay, now we're waiting to hear. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think we're going to go to Brady Halbleib if he is up and ready to at least give us. There he is. Brady, you're on right now with Primetime. Tell me what you're seeing. Obviously, the wreckage behind you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm standing on Highway 50 right now, and just behind me, that is where this helicopter is, just behind me. You can see it right in the middle of the roadway, as there's a lot of debris scattered on the ground. This is still a very active scene here. You're looking at several police vehicles over there, and just beyond that, you're looking at a long line of cars. A lot of people out here, they have their cars turned off and they are out of their vehicles, just kind of waiting to see when they might be able to reopen the lanes here. And I just spoke with CHP that is right here on the ground, and they said they are actually going to be opening the lane here shortly, but they do have to get a lot of this debris still cleared out of the way. And of course, there's still that massive helicopter that's right in the middle of the roadway. But yes, this is a hard closure. They're not letting us pass this do not cross police tape right here, but you're looking at a very active scene. Police are trying to keep everyone in their cars and trying to just keep people mellow for the most part. Up on the side of the highway too, there's a little opening, and that's where a lot of the community have actually heard about this, and they're actually up on the side of the roadway just kind of looking down on this wreckage right here. But as you mentioned, Marley, this situation could have been so much worse if it was heavier traffic at the time when this helicopter came down. But we do know that 3 people were critically injured in this. They are at the hospital right now. But based from where I'm standing, I don't see any vehicles that appear to be damaged by this. If there was, maybe they had already cleared them by now. But this is right in the middle of Highway 50, complete shutdown, and a line of cars. I was quite a distance actually going back there, but as I mentioned, a lot of people are standing outside of the cars right now, and I'm actually looking at some CHP walking over in our direction, so maybe that is some news that they might be opening up the lane here pretty soon. But as I mentioned, still very active situation here. We're going to keep you updated as soon as we get an update from CHP here, hopefully in the next couple of minutes or so.
Yeah, Brady, stay with us for a couple of seconds here. So it looks like the helicopter, in the first images anyway, landed upside down. Now it's kind of hard to see from your vantage point, or maybe because the wreckage, you can't really tell, but does it look that way? And secondly, we're talking right in the middle lane is where most of the wreckage is, correct?
That's what it appears to, and it's really kind of hard for me to tell if it's on its side, upside down, kind of really how it came down onto the highway. It's kind of hard from where I'm standing right now, and I don't know this piece of machinery at all, but yes, this looks like it actually is right in the middle lane here.
And you said too, Brady, that people were actually getting out of their cars, sort of walking along there. Are any officers talking to them? Any idea of, I mean, it's completely backed up there, so you have to wonder how they're going to get that area cleared out. This obviously is going to take a while. I can't imagine that they have any plans to open this anytime soon. Mm-hmm. And if people are getting out of their cars, I'm sure they're wondering what's going on.
Yeah, the people getting out of their cars.
Dozens of CHP. Yeah, there are dozens of CHP officers out here, and I'm assuming a lot of them are talking with. We haven't been over to that side of where the wreckage is, but they have been talking with people over there, and like I mentioned, there are people out of their vehicles right now just waiting. Their cars are turned off. I'm not sure how long many of these people have been sitting there for, but you could only imagine the people that are just beyond the CHP vehicles over there. They're the ones who saw this crash happen. Right. You can only imagine what they saw when this thing was coming down.
Yeah, people out with their phones taking video and or pictures of this. Once again, you're tuned into Primetime Sacramento right here on KMAX 31 and streaming on CBS Sacramento, where we have a medical helicopter that has crashed on US 50. Guys, if we can get an approximate time where this happened. I have not heard any sort of time when this actually happened. I know that
I was pulling up the CHP traffic incident report. It does say 7:06.
Okay, that makes sense.
When there was an aircraft emergency. Again, right near 50 and 59th. This is right near Howe as well, and you know that area is pretty busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's some pedestrian walkways and bridges that obviously people are going to be looking at this wreckage from. Brady mentioned that there are people that are actually up to the side on that highway looking at this. If they are going to get at least one lane open, I'm imagining it's going to be the slow lane there.
But I would imagine with all that debris and it's scattered all over the place, and they have an investigation to complete here,
Yeah.
I would say avoid that area at all costs, because at this point, that all those people that are just pushed up against that crash, who knows how long they're going to be out there at this point until they can get people turned around or to keep going.
You mentioned the smoke that was seen. Brady, let me go to you. Do you see that there was any sort of charred wreckage? Does it look like this thing was on fire at any point?
You know, Tony, it actually doesn't look like there was any fire. You know, I was actually up on the bank looking down on it, had a different perspective. And to be honest, I didn't see anything that appeared to have been smoking or smoldering, any smoke involved with this. So maybe that is a really good thing when it comes to this situation like this, of course, you know, but I can't tell if there was any smoke.
Right. Again, we believe this is
Okay, no, actually, you know what? I was just told that fire actually did put foam on it. But from this perspective, I can't really tell it from this perspective if there was any smoke or fire.
And we know fire crews were out there as well. So it was CHP as well. So we can imagine that they had some sort of role in this. And like I said, you could see the pictures online with a lot of smoke in the air.
Again, just after 7 o'clock, this beach air ambulance, for lack of a better term, many times they're called that, these life flight helicopters. We believe it was on the way to UC Davis Medical Center. 3 people on board, critically injured. We don't know if there was a patient. We don't know if it was a medical crew, medical team, but we can tell you that these people are very seasoned and know what they're doing. And I know one thing, these types of aircrafts are a bit heavier than others because of all the medical equipment that's on board.
Yeah.
Don't know if that played a role, obviously, but we do know that it was clear skies. There was no problems with the weather at the time of the crash.
And there were people who were posting not just from sitting in traffic and watching as this happened, but people from their homes who were saying it appeared as if the helicopter had been coming from UC Davis. Again, we don't know at that point if that was what was going on. But like you said, Tony, these choppers are of course going to be heavier because they're equipped to deal with serious patients and medical operations that they're dealing with. They've got ICU capabilities on there, so.